Coffee cools beside the fight, heart still learning wrong from right. Every loss just fed the light, now I'm moving day and night. They say it's madness, I say it's art. I trade my fear to feel my heart. The motion keeps me sane enough to stay in love with showing up. Motion over emotion, I've been coasting, no slowing. Grind all night, no posting. All in now, I'm chosen. Motion over emotion, fell back down, still floating. Lose my way, but I'm open. I move like I'm ghosting. I've been rich, I've been broken ways. Money can't define the days. Build my peace on patient waves. Not the price, but how it sways. Every fall taught grace and pain. Every climb rewrote my name. Now I'm calm inside the flame. Motion made me, I remain. Spin me out, I'll find the line. Even chaos has design. Every tick of heart I find. Every trait a state of mind. Motion over emotion. I've been coasting, no slowing. Grind all night, no posting. All in now, I'm chosen. Let's go. Motion over emotion. Fell back down, still flow. Lose my way, but I'm open. I move like I'm ghosting.
What's up, Zach?
Over emotion, yeah. I've been coasting, no slow. Right on, I ain't no posting. Yeah.
What up, UV Star? How's it going? 1 sec.
And if I lose it all one day, I'll still thank the moves I made. Cause I'm more than what I trade. The market move me in every way.
What are you guys thinking? I mean, like, what I thought back here was we would go sideways and then start breaking out. End of last week or early the following week, we had this giant dump and everyone got bearish, then we pumped pretty hard. This is
Love don't lie, it just moves along.
If you remove the volatility, kind of where I think makes sense. What up, Aaron? Good to see you in here. I'm doing alright. I'm just trying to get these videos done. I have a bunch of other stuff to do. What up, Wendell? It's been a while. Hope you're doing well. I should name it XRP Live, but man, I think XRP is about to be unpopular, so like all that I cared about and we've been talking about here is just these pair charts. Also, Aaron, what do you think of this music? I'll turn it down. Yeah, we can talk about support and resistance here. You do. I think we're finally at a point where Litecoin's about to have the high time frame breakout. And I care more about the pair charts. So LTC against alt here. We were trying this forever, right? Extremely long, like basing accumulation range. 3 attempts to break out, each with like shorter time in between each consolidation. And then I was thinking after this breakdown on the October 10th liquidation, because it held strength, it seemed like we were gonna try to break out. We did, retested twice, and then rocketed kind of off that. It's most likely now, although we don't ever know for sure, that this continues. So a lot of other alts are like hanging out at the lows. Still haven't. Litecoin's above the resistance. When you look at resistance, I'd take horizontal levels because they're the easiest, and we cleared that after rejecting a few times. It could come back and retest. I mean, wave basis is saying that, like, this is a completed 5-wave move up, but if this is really like a nested, like triple nested 1-2 type setup, you'd expect just sideways consolidation. Nothing deep anymore. I want to rerun this. But yeah, really we just have this descending trend line here. We have like 120, 125, and then 140 to clear. There might be some volatility once we get up here. And we're currently kind of working through this area, but there's not that much resistance here. I would expect this to move back up to like 120. I honestly think we're gonna clear. I just don't know how long it's gonna take. You can look at references. Right when Zcash broke up off the bottom, it went sideways for like a week or two, and it broke out, retested twice, kind of like LTC others did, and then went vertical. I think Litecoin's more likely to just start rallying from here, straight off the lows. That's what happened with XRP. Right, it's kind of similar. Cleared this previous high, retested a bit, and it's pretty much straight up from there. All I know is, like, on the high time frames, I think this looks really good. We're kind of avoiding, from like an Ichimoku perspective, the CS was below the candles, but now it's back above. This 2-week CS line should get above 122. That closes the end of next week, so about a week from now. Should be above 120. My computer's lagging a bit. I need to restart it. I've been using it so much, doing like mute the digital audio workstation, video editing. It's like a lot for my computer. Saw my interview with Flippin'5. What'd you think of it? What's with all the Litecoin bulls on X? I know, it's super annoying. I wrote about it in that music I made. I'm like, they're all gonna come out and say they were always bullish when they were pumping meme coins like a few months before, saying I was the one calling Litecoin to the moon without any fundamental understanding. It's like super annoying, and they have large followings, so it's gonna be tough to compete. But I think mainstream, if it goes mainstream, they want someone that actually has a fundamental thesis and not just pumping charts. Even though it seems like that's what everyone wants, because that's what X engagement is about. Bitcoin does have like a small gap here. It could come back and close. I don't know. I wanted to see it open here and not leave a gap. But I don't think it matters too much. Like I've been saying that, I really don't think Bitcoin price action is going to matter at all once Litecoin, a little bit, but not a ton once Litecoin breaks out. Yeah, it's been a while. It's nice to get back up, but like, I don't know. There's some big influencers like Big Cheds that's like saying, why is everyone talking about this chart? He doesn't see anything bullish about it. He's a pretty good trader, but I don't know how you can't just notice on higher time frames, or have a perspective that this isn't bullish. I mean, if you're zoomed into the short-term time frame, sure. But I feel like I pointed out a million times, the multi-year consolidation at the lows is, without rallying, is the same thing the most explosive altcoins always did. and weren't paid attention to.
Either way, I'm in 'cause my love don't trade. Either way, I'm in 'cause my love don't trade. Don't trade.
Fuck Sui. Apologies to people that own Sui. I mean, I don't really care what people buy, but I just think I don't know enough about it to really have an opinion, but I know that it's pumped by. It's just launched. Like I'm not interested in anything outside of money because that's the biggest market. And no new coin's gonna get monetary network effects instantly. Your exchange in Taiwan doesn't accept the MWeb stuff? We can talk about it. I'm not like the biggest privacy expert, although I think it's important for the future. I know MWeb isn't like perfect privacy, so I don't know why exchanges would not like it. But this MWeb balance is going vertical. There's $38 million in it now. It's kind of like the Zcash shielded coins. What I care more about is transactions, but anyways, it's locking up supply.
Nobody cared what it meant. I wasn't chasing any trend, didn't need to fake or pretend. I just saw what no one saw, how money moves, how systems fall. Never wanted fame or likes, didn't build this to go viral overnight. I studied the math, I learned the chain, I understood what still remains. I'm not a scam, I'm not your fad, I'm just betting on what lasts. I don't care if they know my name, I'm still all in a big game. They can hate me, they can doubt, but I know what this is about. I've seen the cycle, seen the pain, still standing here.
I think
Still the same.
this will be an interesting week for sure. Like we'll start seeing rallies on the weekend now. What is actually, I don't really check many other coins. What's moving? Decred is still moving up. Hold on one sec, guys. I gotta help.
Conviction from the pain, from every loss that said you can't remain. They called it luck, I called it life. They chased the chart, I chased the why, and now it's clear. In every way I was early, not insane. I'm not a scam, I'm not your trend. I don't need this to ever end. I don't care if they know my name. I'm still all in a rigged game.
Okay, I'm back.
Time will show it, I can see I've played my part. I stayed the same, still all in.
Zach, like one of the 3 month chart looks like APLD stock. I don't really know much about that stock.
I'm not a scam, I'm not your fad, I'm just betting on what lasts. I don't care if they know my name, I'm still all in a big game. They can hate me, they
Yeah,
can
similar
doubt,
to
but I know what
this
this is
bottoming
about.
out
I've seen the
structure.
cycle, seen the pain, still standing here, still the same. Still the same.
We'll see. I think like open interest and leverage isn't that high, so it's mostly spot buying, which is good.
I'm gonna be hated by everyone, but I still sleep like I already.
Yeah, funding rates are really low, like below baseline. We haven't ever been at this high of a price, this low of funding rates or open interest. We're basically at the same levels of open interest that we were at $50.
They'll frame me, name me, quote me wrong, say I'm rogue cause I wrote these songs, but every time they ban a voice, another light just stays too strong. I'm gonna be hated by everyone, but I still sleep like I already won.
What up, Nick? Yes, reclaim this, and now I don't know. I just don't know whether it's gonna go sideways for a bit or just start rallying. But I lean towards just rallying straight from here because I think this is gonna continue. I think it's a major breakout, that a major shift in trend from that started like 2017. So.
Call it open Bermuda zone. Say stack sats, but they so souls to every trend to fill their phone. I'm the ghost they said was gone. Block still ticking, still too strong. You can't cancel code that breathes. You can't fake what time redeems. They hate me, cause I build belief outside. The code to make believe, not in it. For your dopamine, I trade a need, not in memes. I know I'll never be their favorite. That's how I know I made it. Truth had fans, it fade quick. Only love lasts after hatred. I'm gonna be hated by everyone, but I still sleep like I already won. They build walls, I build the sun. Too bright for the chosen one, so let them talk. I won't run every night.
Yeah. I think this is the start of it. But yeah, I think we're gonna start this. I mean, I always thought, to Yadu's comment, that we'd see relative strength and increase of proof of work alts. Like, I put a video out about that a few months back.
Woke up to a light I didn't plan. Screen flash white like a second sun. 10 missed calls, can't hold my hand cause it's shaking.
Yeah, Litecoin's in a good spot for this like speculative cycle. The privacy is like optional. I think this is it. I think Litecoin just broke out against everything, and people started noticing, right? And they started positioning and talking about it after they bought. So it's just not much supply. So like, it's gonna be relatively way easier for it to move. Zcash is now a higher market cap, and I'm sure a lot of supply is gonna be rotated around here. So it takes way more money to move it, or everyone's just holding Litecoin. So I think we're gonna pass Zcash back pretty soon. I think we're going to number 3 or 2. Yeah, I think I've always said I think it's gonna be way stronger than XRP, so I was in Zcash. I think it'll clear the all-time high. Zcash started way below it. It's at like its 2017 all-time high now. Which exchange has the full price history? Kraken does. Yeah, it rallied straight into the highs, but it had to move way through a lot of resistance here. It started at literally like the equivalent of $40 for like one, like here. Yeah, I mean, it's like on X, the trader people are talking about it, but there's no broad interest here yet. Like, it barely ticked up in search interest. We're still really low. So I kind of discount the X stuff. So, but once we get the breakout above 140 and it starts moving, we'll see a lot of people come in. I need my... Yeah, I don't know about the 2K stimmies. That seems interesting.
to find the days, build my peace on patient waves, not the price, but how it sways. Every fall taught grace and pain, every climb rewrote my name.
There's a lot of LTC BTC volume on Kraken. I mean, most of the rally is not coming from, it's coming from like rotation of other coins. Right, it's pumping on the weekend. It's not like fresh dollar volume. Yeah, a lot of the Litecoin ETFs should be live. And I mean, if people want exposure to Litecoin, they just get it through. There only has to be one open. They'll hear about it when it's rallying. I just hope I can attract people to the stream here. I'm trying to build a 24-hour loop right now. That's what I'm working on. So I'm going to start those up again here soon, whenever we break. I mean, we can check the poly market government shutdown thing. %86 says this week. So most likely.
It's holding strong. How you lose when it all goes wrong. Every dip just where I belong. Love don't lie, it just moves along.
Yeah, there's no Zcash ETF, exactly. I was saying, also, there's not much attention on crypto broadly, but we could start seeing that. And I think, unlike Zcash, Litecoins can sustain itself because the narrative is way more convincing to more people once it starts rallying. Zcash transactions are back down to 9,000. It's like Litecoin's probably going to go to pass Bitcoin before us is done with. Trust a trend that never fades. This trend has not faded. Yeah, I think so, and I think if they can understand the narrative. Yeah, stimulus checks, I mean, any government stimulus is like always negative long term. People just go out and consume stuff or inflate financial assets. It's not, it's like, we're gonna give you money, except the only way we give you the money is by taxing you later in the future. Great. I think we're gonna make new all-time highs against Cardano. Crazy, Zcash still going. I think should lose relative strength soon. Cried and coped and tried. Still me, died and go then ride. Still me, volatility curve still smiles on me. I keep receipts from the nights I died. Play tweets like I'm on rerouted. Sharpie swings in my chest, I'm scouting. Let me on red, but the heart kept counting. Risk on love, I was under hedge. That's crazy, yeah. No scaling slow when the fear says flee. Stomach drawdowns, breathe through the bleed. Let my peace got a wider band. To my view, got a steadier hand. Now when it spikes, I don't chase, I stand. Where did Litecoin close Friday? Zcash should go a little further until people stop hating. I don't know, we'll see. I mean, it's at its all-time high. It's a good place to consolidate. Maybe it breaks it.
The same chart as a market. I peaked and I dipped and then restarted. I healed and I tripped and I got it. Love got a spread, who bought it up? Trend and the fake out, darling. New high, then a hard for stalling. If pain got a price, I've marked it. If love got a bit, I'll pocket.
Yeah, I don't know why they're shorting it out of hatred. That's not a smart thing to do. But yeah, funding rates are still negative. But there's a lot of longs too on leverage. They'll both probably get wiped out. Shorts and longs. Probably shorts first. Yeah, we could go back to 102. Back to 100 potentially. We'll see. We should see how tomorrow goes.
Smiles on me. I keep receipts from the nights I doubted. Replay tweets like I'm on rerouted. Sharp V swings in my chest, I'm scouting. Let me on red, but the heart kept counting. Risk on love, I was on the hedge. Pledged my trust and I lost my edge. Now my scaling slow when the fear said fleece. I'ma draw down, breathe through the bleed. Like my beast got a wide bang. To my view, got a steadier hand. Now when it's spikes, I don't chase a stand.
Yeah, I hope we get a lot of short interest that piles in.
Every trend line lasts some years, but the mean revert to truth, I swear. So I keep my faith right there. High then low then high. Still me. Cried and coped and tried. Still me. Died and growed and rise. Still me. Volatility curve still smiles on me.
Well, I think people's expectations have been super low. Way too low. I'm glad that finally these 21 cycle winners are just shitting themselves. Because nobody's going to want to buy these overpriced assets that have no momentum. Cardano. Dogecoin link. If I break, I'll stay. If I think, I'll pray. Either way, I'm in, cause my love don't trade. Either way, I'm in, cause my love don't trade. Don't trade. Mood swing, red wick on my sleeve, I breathe slow. Fear talk cheap, but it's loud. I need to be able to stream to TikTok. Set faith with a tight stop. Ghosts in my head, do the most at the night. Drop charts on my phone like a mirror of my habits. Eyes feel magic, lows turn tragic. Learn not to make the top or the bottom. A lot of people used my Orange Cat meme music. When the noise gets cold, I just hold. Every dip's just a breath, I reload my hope. Every trend that broke taught me groove. I've been range bound, babe. Up and down all day. Every candle writes my fate, I still hold anyway. If I break, I'll stay. If I fake, I'll pray. Either way, I'm in, cause my love don't trade. Either way, I'm in, cause my love don't trade. Don't trade. Late night scrolls through the candles. What up, Andrew?
Every loss I replay still ain't finished yet. Told myself patience the real leverage. Can't time healing, I just averaging better. I was risk on love to the tremble verse. Margin on pain, yeah, I hit that verse. Ooh. Now I try my piece like it's price support. Still holding faith in a raging chord. Zoom out, see it's still ascending. Every scholar line worth mending.
I wake up and hop on stream? What do you mean? I don't know what I said. What the replies to, I forgot. I think I just need to be live when this is starting. We still don't have enough search interest to... Oh, to get on TikTok maybe, that's what you're replying to. It doesn't let me until I have 1,000 followers on TikTok, but I haven't posted on it, and I just made it. I only have 14. I need to upload all my videos too. You're watching some football? I used to watch football quite a bit. I'd always go to Broncos games. And they're actually doing well this year. Seems like the NFL is one of the most non-dominant sports where the same team doesn't win every year. Like baseball, hockey, basketball. I mean, there's certain teams that are like bad every year, forever, but I guess the Patriots won a lot. Maybe it's the same. Strictly Dumping and Mark Weens. I'm not much into the food scene. I used to watch like the Food Network when I was bored, when I was little. Have I seen the Litecoin cards? I've seen a few posts on them. But I've never been much of a like collector type. The only thing I regret not buying were the 25 Litecoin block reward cards. Charlie started doing those. But man, all these bear charts look so bullish. Just need a little bit higher and this is gonna rocket. And if they ask how I stayed sane, I just trusted what won't change. I'm not here to sell a dream. I'm here cause I believe. I built conviction from the pain. From every loss that said you can't remain. They called it luck, I called it History Channel. I just remember like Ancient Aliens. I used to watch that for fun. And yeah, sometimes randomly I watch with my dad. He liked history. We're on a 12-hour TD9, but eventually should just blow through these. HGTV, Triple D on Food Network. Yeah, I used to watch those like cooking competition shit and Gordon Ramsay stuff. And some like Anthony Bourdain. What do I think about XRP? Well, I drew this a while back. It looked like the LTC Doge chart. I think we're gonna go vertical here. But I've had the same opinion for a while. It just seemed more convincing after putting in this rounded bottom. But like Litecoin looks the same against the whole market, so I think it's just gonna rip while way ahead of everything else. And if we get the final rally in Bitcoin through the early part of next year, it should accelerate. So I think like my fundamental macro thesis comes true, Litecoin will pump way higher than anyone imagines. Because again, it's the only thing that can pump for a fundamental reason like that, where it's just straight vertical from transaction migration. Yeah, Bourdain was a legend. Hope you guys are ready. I hope I can sustain momentum with these 24-hour streams. But it's gonna be a party. Maybe I should play. You ready for this, guys? AMTV calling for 1K in days. He's like a hype guy though. There's nothing fundamentally that could cause that. It's speculation, but I don't think it's likely at all.
Breaking news. Litecoin just hit another all-time high. Experts say this rally might never end.
Yeah, don't let the shillers take the engagement. Well, they're gonna try their best. We'll see if what the audience chooses, though. I think I have a few things that can help. One is just the depth of content should be stronger. I think my fundamental arguments, articles, explanatory videos, educational videos should help if people are, but I don't know, like the general public might not be interested in that. That's why I built this music stuff and this 24/7 stream, because if this resonates, everyone should come here. When do we sell? Mine's more timing based. I think we'll see how this goes. I don't think I'm gonna sell much until we get a 9-air. It's good that we're getting this rally. It won't reset the countdown, and then we'll be more confident about
LTC is dead.
rallying into March, potentially April. I'll get nervous around then.
It'll never flip. Nobody uses it. It can't compete. The devs are left.
Yeah, Chris Green guy, he kind of came out of
It's just a
nowhere.
copy. No
But
smart
the way he promotes
contracts.
himself, it's hard to.
No
Maybe I don't know anything about him. I shouldn't say anything bad.
Bitcoin already won.
But I don't trust people that don't have a understanding and they're just pumping and calling for super high prices. Even though I agree with maybe some of the more extreme prices.
Where's it going?
Zoom out. I'm just like clicking around, I'm not even thinking. This is max compression though. Why the fuck not? Yeah, I should invite him on. He has a huge following, and I mean, in his videos, he's like a well-spoken guy. He knows what he's doing, and I think he's just memeing. So, yeah, it'd be fine to talk to him if he's down. I think other people asked him. He never replied. Let's check out the SMAs first, because I never used the.
Where's it going? What's the
So we're
price?
back above this 50-week moving average.
What's the chain?
Let's check the daily moving averages. Also, I don't know, meandering around the 50-day moving average as well. Check the exponential moving averages. We're above all of the higher time frame MAs, EMAs, on all time periods.
One chain! One chain! One chain! One chain!
We
One chain!
perfectly closed just above this and recovered.
How many chains? One chain! One chain!
This cloud. I don't even on the Ichimoku stuff it looks bullish. Just needs to get back above 120 by the end of this next week.
LTC! LTC! How many coins? One! Who's still strong? LTC! Who don't fold? One!
Gonna pop a bottle of champagne when we break all time high? Hell yeah. So fucking close. I know. Freaking ace.
One chain! One chain! One chain!
I want to see mainstream care again.
LTC!
I think they will.
LTC! LTC! Who's got speed? One! Who's got trust? LTC! Who's still here? One!
The Zcash bump is nice.
Who's with us?
Will give people confidence. I thought it was gonna happen to Litecoin first. That's like what I was talking about forever. It happens to Zcash, but I think Litecoins will be stronger and more persistent. Like the massive, the Doge cycle style pump, but bigger. XRP of 2017. I don't know, it'll be interesting to see because we've never had an asset in crypto that's been had this tight of a range for this period of time with actually strong fundamentals and future potential fundamental growth. It'll be interesting to see what all the Sailor crew says. Litecoin at number 2. Oh yeah. We're tie with Ethereum for a bit. I think this will resonate at mania stages. This music. What do you guys think for designing my 24-hour loop? Should I repeat some of this stuff quite a bit? But I think I have so much that I can't really repeat it. I just have too much. Biggest gainers in 2017? No, was Litecoin really number 4? Well, XRP was so much stronger than Litecoin. Litecoin was like 100x from March. and XRP was like almost 1000x. It's like an order of magnitude difference. But there were others that rallied like 100x at the very end, like Tron did. And Rayblox, that nano token, and IOTA, like all of those had crazy runs. I don't know if does any exchange have Toronto 2017? Toronto was crazy. Like look at this, and like 2 months. It was 200x in 2 months. And then there was like Verge was like 100x rally. Everything was like going 100x. All these random tiny altcoins. But for major assets, yeah, Litecoin was probably 4. But there was like only, back in 2017, there weren't that many coins.
Breaking news.
Like I think even Dogecoin's rally wasn't that much behind Litecoin's.
Experts say this rally
Yeah, this was 100x.
might never end.
So, and Litecoin's about the same. Yeah, it's hard. I think if you use like AI stuff, they probably don't have the data. But I didn't consider Litecoin like one of the biggest gainers because well, Litecoin moved like 4x or 10x at the end of the cycle. There were things that are moving 10 times more. It was really like 8x.
Everyone's here now, but where were they before?
Play my best song? I don't know if I have one. I guess it's all dependent on what I feel like. So many people are gonna hate it. But oops. Whoops. I really like, I don't know, I like a lot of it. I like this whole album. What the? Sorry, I keep clicking that on accident. I like this new stuff that I created, but it's not like hype music. But it's not necessarily this first one. I wanted like the style of Ed Sheeran's like acoustic percussion on the guitar, but over like R&B style vocals.
Coffee cools beside the fight, heart still learning wrong from right. Every loss just fed the light, now I'm moving day and night. They say it's madness, I say it's art.
I should have slowed this down a little bit.
Motion keeps me sane enough to stay in love with showing up. Motion over emotion.
It's just like late night grind that motivate me.
Now I'm chosen. Motion over emotion. Fell back down, still floating. Lose my way, but I'm open. I move like I'm ghosting. I've been rich, I've been broken ways. Money can't define the days. Build my peace on patient waves. Not the price, but how it sways. Every fall taught grace and pain. Every climb rewrote my name. Now I'm calm inside the flame. Motion made me, I remain. Spin me out.
I don't know, I like so many different genres of music. It's hard to pick one. Oh yeah, you can come on here. I need to ask my wife what she wants to do, or she'll get mad at me if I stay on here. Yeah. Hopefully I have enough that people don't get bored. I'm gonna successfully pull off the 24-hour stream. And I'll probably just play ambient music while I'm talking when I start this, when more people join, if they do. And keep this stuff for when I'm not here.
And if I lose it all one day, I'll still thank the moves I made, 'cause I'm more than what I trade. The market move me in every way.
Did I get married? Yeah. Yep, Aaron. Let me send you a link for the stream, but I'll be right back. I need to see how much time I have.
Love don't lie, it just moves along.
Also, I think these videos are better now. What do you guys think?
My dreams on candle frames. Now I see your name in every wave. No alerts, just intuition. Got no edge but pure conviction. She was calm in my correction. Now she lives in my direction. Every fall has something to teach. Every run was just out of reach. Now my peace don't need a peak. I'm just charting what's underneath. Chart my heart, trend line, baby. Bounce right back when you fake me. Volatile love, but it made me. Still hold tight when it's shaky. Chart my heart, trend line, baby. Bounce right back when you fake me. Volatile love, but it made me. Still hold tight when it's shaky. Try to edge, my soul got burned. Every short never earned. Patience paid in silent terms. Growth to loss, you must confirm. She said you're more than what you trade, but I'm still built from all I weigh. So the risk is how I pray, and trust the trend that never fades. Broke my bias, found my faith. Every ever just found its place. Marking noise, but her voice clear. Said you're the candle, not the fear. Yeah, shot my heart, breaking riches. Every loss just teaches the best. I don't guess. I manifest love, finds form in the stress. Shot my heart, breaking riches. Every loss just teaches the best. I don't guess. I manifest love, finds form in the stress.
Alright, I'll send you the link. Thanks.
All that weight fell off in time. Can't front run what's meant to rise. Even patience gets divine. I see her glow in every zone. No alerts, I'm in the flow. What was fears now fuel I own. I'm the chart, I'm not alone. Sharp my heart's a core resistance. Pull me close and keep your distance. Still I rise through every instance. Love's my proof, my persistence.
Alright, see you later. UV Star.
We started, I healed and I tripped in. I got it, love gotta spread
Hey, Charlie.
uptrend and the fake out, darling. New high, then a heart for stalling. If pain got a price, I marked it. If love got a bid, I'll park it. Red then green, I ride it. Waves in my head, can't hide it. Up and down, I'm sliding. Hard like the chart repricing. You love me more when I'm winning. Fade when the candle's spinning. If I go flat, you miss it. Tell me, was it me or the digits? High, then low, then high. Still me. Cried and coped and tried. Still me. Died and go then ride. Still me. Volatility curve still smiles on me. I keep receipts from the nights I died. Play tweets like I'm out.
Thank you, Aaron.
Swings in my chest, I'm scouting. Let
They're
me
dope,
unread
thanks.
dog, get
LTC
pounded.
84.
Missed my love, I was under hedge. Pledged my trust and I lost my edge.
Nick's gonna come in here, I think.
Stomach drawdowns, brief
Oh, he's in here.
my piece got a
Let
wild
me
man. To my view, got a steadier hand. Now when it spikes, I don't
add my
chase the
mic. What's up, Nick?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. This is the first time I didn't have to request your mic.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's pretty nice.
Nice. Alright. Let's see if I
Hey,
can.
did you say that you got married?
Yeah, like in Puerto Rico before I came here. It was a while back. Like 3 months, 4 months ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, sometimes I just forget to say, or I don't necessarily want to tell everyone, but it's fine. Uh,
Yeah, I don't think it matters.
yeah. Okay, let me make your screen bigger. What the heck?
How's New York been?
Oh, it's been good. I like it. It's
Was
been
this your
fun.
first? Did you just like rent a place sight unseen, or?
Yeah, well, I just looked at pictures on the internet, and I just checked out the building. And then it's hard to rent apartments in New York because they have like way more restrictions. Like
What, for animals or something?
for everything. Like people complain about it all the time, but I think it's because New York City and New York State's government's like it's hard to evict people, so they like want to make sure that you're gonna pay your rent.
Okay, so okay, I got you.
So they're
And that
like,
gets more difficult with your specific. Say
well,
it's like amount of cash you have versus income, right?
yeah, they just have to prove like that you have cash, like assets that are far above. I don't know what it is. It's like 100
I don't know what it
times
is
the.
either because when I originally bought my house, it was all based on my income. You know, I've never bought or made a big purchase, and they looked at like on the loan or whether, like you said, whether it's a lease or not. Like they've never looked at just like pure income, and
Yeah,
that's interesting too because like how does it work if you have to have a certain amount of cash? Is that what it is?
yeah, it's like 100 times the monthly rent in cash or something.
The monthly, and you have a 6 month lease.
It's actually 12 months, but I might break it early. There's like it's so hard to get shorter term stuff too.
Piece of shit. You just might break it.
Well, I might just I might have to go back to Puerto Rico before the 12 months, and then I would just pay for it probably and go back there. Not necessarily just break it, but
Oh, okay. I can go back. Okay, so I could go visit when I could go visit and stay in your apartment.
yeah,
When you're
it's
gone.
yeah, I don't know how that works. They're like super strict about giving unless your name's on it and stuff, and you can't like rent it out.
Do you have
It,
like a guy at your door? What's it called? A bell guy?
oh yeah, there's people down there 24/7. There's like three. There's always one guy overnight, but there's like three during the day.
That's pretty
The
cool.
doorman people. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah. So I didn't ask you. I think you said in the past, but what's your theory for like how far the cycle goes? Like whether it goes into next year? Is it just like a blow off like a lot of guys think? Or is this like possibly a breakout, then an extended trend to the upside that lasts years?
I
Because I
think
asked you
it's
earlier, like selling, right? Like, what are you gonna sell at?
it depends what happens over the next few months, but I think it'll be like most other cryptocurrency manias. Uh, that it's pretty short and most of the gains happen in like a 3 to 6 month period. Probably over the next 4 or 5 months. I've had the same view since the beginning, and I thought we'd eventually get there to a blow off. I just thought the macro conditions were perfect for stocks to enter pretty like euphoric stage. They already got there. Uh,
Stocks already got there for sure.
so I was one of the few like way before like in 2022 just thinking that, and then I thought we'd see a rotation in crypto because the macro narrative for Bitcoin would be strong, and eventually just because Bitcoin's solely being driven by speculation, like once some other coins gain momentum, that it'd be hard to stop, and I thought Litecoin's narrative would be super strong in that situation just for multiple reasons, right? Like the fact that institutional capital is involved and they might be smarter. I was hoping they would, and if they actually looked at network stats that because Litecoin doubled this cycle, I thought it was going to be the best performing proof of work coin on the monetary side, and it was. And I think that will continue. And eventually they should notice that. And because it's been relatively so underpaid attention to and underappreciated, if it gets momentum at the right time, which it looks like it's going to, that's what you want. Like, I think we have the most ideal conditions of breaking out now versus if we had that last year when XRP rallied. I think it'd be way harder
That's
to.
what's interesting too, that a lot of people don't pay respect to, or they'll look at it like as reserve, like what's the word? I can't think of the word, but they would look at it like as a possible weakness, like the timing as far as the pump goes. But you can argue that's like one of the most ideal things, and one of the most important things is the timing of a breakout, right? Because you could view XRP and it didn't have its ETF, and it did majority of its pump to previous all-time highs or whatever it was, and it's had good relative strength since then. But as far as like the timing of the release and where it's at, like earlier when I sent you LTCC, and you're looking at that chart, and you're looking at like the timing of when the ETF got approved and when the first ETF IPO'd, and then all you get on that chart is the price, right? So if someone looks up someone that's just TradeFi, right? They're only looking at an
Yeah.
ETF as far as the exposure, and then they're looking at that chart, and then that's their chart. They may not be looking at it from a viewpoint of like, oh, this is the price since existence, this is what it's done for the last 7 years. They'll just look at it and be like, this thing's just going straight up.
Yeah, exactly. And
Oh,
historically I don't know why it's not talked about, but historically it is the altcoins that have been in this long extended consolidation that break out when there starts to be relative like attention shift to crypto and capital rotation. Because like whatever is in the spotlight at the time when it bursts out into the public consciousness is generally what maintains momentum. And there's just not very many assets in the top 20 that have the capacity to really run very hard or have the fundamental strength or the narrative. And people don't see the narrative,
really?
but
Like what you said though, it's the fundamental strength plus the narrative, right? Because it's like the fundamental reasons that you believe in, as far as actually maintaining its status as a good currency, and the network effect, and then looking at its narrative. And if we have a sustained market and we have a decent amount of new participants, and the majority of that pool of capital is actually up, say, boomer level, and what they find interesting and what they're looking for, and often it will be the biggest pool of capital will chase outside of Bitcoin, will chase like the next level for that. So as far as like the narrative being the silver narrative or Bitcoin quarter narrative, I don't know what do you know what the technical like silver to gold ratio that people look for? Is it a quarter?
yeah, it's like 0.25 because that's the supply difference. That'd be like pretty close to the same market cap. There's more Bitcoin supply issued, so it'd really be like 0.26 or something. But yeah, I mean, I think that'll be a strong narrative at certain price levels. They'll look at the transaction stats and be like, hey, it's monetized at a higher degree of Bitcoin or has more users. They'll justify buying Litecoin if it's at 0.0, like at all-time highs of Bitcoin, 0.025 or something. I think with momentum,
I think.
it's going to be easy, but we have to
Go
get
ahead.
there first. There's like a lot of stuff to go through, but if
What's
this, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say what's interesting for me is like if I'm looking at Bitcoin and where we'd go from here, it would be a rapid acceleration to the next support level or resistance level, which for me is over call it 250. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the way I'm looking at things now or whatever. I do think it'll be a rapid increase, and I to me no longer I'm looking at least with this console. I mean, before say we before July, before the summer, and we had this long consolidation, that's when I think 140, 150 was more of a resistance level that I put more emphasis on. So like now, considering where we've consolidated, say like mid channel, based off of last year. So over a year now, we pretty much, for Bitcoin, we had a bear market, we had lows, and then we had a pretty consistent pump up, which you can call like a flagpole, which I'm going to view this whole price action as like a flagpole. And then since then, we've been kind of in a rising channel. And I think anyone that you see online that draws this as a rising wedge, I think they're all viewing it from a very limited standpoint where they're just attaching the most recent highs, and their coordinates are just like a kind of like a lagging indicator. It's nothing of importance versus me running the coordinates off this long-term channel we've been in. And then if I'm viewing that, we got that bear market. I have a pretty beautiful pitchfork I could draw out that we've tapped up against, but I feel like once we break out of that, and that's kind of what we've been gearing towards to consolidate below. And this consolidation we've had now, I don't think 150 will be an issue. I think it's more likely we're possibly be, and that's another thing. People talk about Master being broken. That seems to be like, when I went on Twitter today, it was like Litecoin to whatever was a lot of big attention, and then outside of that, for me, the big standout was MicroStrategy being complete dog shit and why blah 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 blah. And to me, that's just, I think we're at peak negative commentary on MicroStrategy. I think MicroStrategy is probably about to outperform, and I think what we're about to see in Bitcoin will be like the outperformance we expected when it broke an all-time high. But instead, we got more of a consolidation, more of a sideways channel, rising channel. And I don't know, like a lot of people said, like, say if you look at like tech dev or Decodejar, excuse me, and you look at their theory of like an extended bull market and bull run, I think we have a combo of both, and I think we have a combo that will make both sides happy. I think we have a combo of people that are looking for the blow off top. They'll get some version of that. But as far as those same people that are looking for that blow up top, I don't think they get the extended bear market like they do, at least not out of crypto. I can't speak to like equities or any of the other assets that they're looking for in their correlations. But I think Bitcoin and a decent amount of alts that are actually somewhat worth their value. We don't see an extended bear market. It's more like we see like a breakout into like call it a new paradigm, and then a retracement into reality, and not like a massive bear market for any alts that are somewhat worth anything. So for me, I think like if I'm looking at it in relation to Litecoin, I think this next big move is like what a lot of people would view as like the final move in the market. So like for Litecoin, it would be very soon we do get that extended crazy move, consolidation, and then big push up. And I think that's where a lot of people will call it a bear market, but I think it'll just be the start of an extended move
Interesting.
for Bitcoin and for Litecoin.
Yeah. Well, I always thought we'd find, that was my base case, to see a vertical move in Bitcoin kind of like that, and that was what was giving me confidence in Litecoin, because if that happens at those price levels, like from here to 200 plus $1,000, I think the odds of the fee level significantly breaking all-time highs is really high, and then Litecoin will pass Bitcoin at least in daily users. And I think that will be a huge story, so the narrative should be strong. And if it happens at the levels I was thinking would happen, like if we get 3x the prior all-time high in fees, because it can move up there really fast. Like linear demand increase in demand for Bitcoin block space will cause just like vertical or exponential cost of that block space. and which will price out like the mean of where Bitcoin transactions are sitting at. And so I was always factoring like potential billion, 2 billion, multiple billions of dollar migration, which would pump Litecoin like 10x from where it's at now, at a potentially a couple $100 billion market cap that probably would stay there permanently. So that's why I've always thought that, yeah, it's been doubted for so long, it'd take a while to overcome that negative sentiment, but once that happens, once it totally flips and people realize it's the second Bitcoin chain, or maybe the most dominant, I thought we'd get like extreme FOMO and diversification from people holding Bitcoin, which in a short amount of time could cause, yeah, a crazy rally, just because they're so far apart in market cap right now. Right, that'd be like a $4 trillion Bitcoin. And so Litecoin getting to it, 10% of that is not crazy to me. Not 20% isn't even crazy. So we'll see, but if that happens, I think that's what I was always saying. If that type of vertical price move happens, which I've been betting on, then all the dominoes of my thesis should fall. And that's why I put so much work into this stream, because if that happens while this is live 24/7, it'll be pretty crazy.
If it got crazy like that, what would be the end goal for you doing all this?
Well, I wouldn't ever try to be a hype person. I would just try to explain, you know, what is happening, because people always look for an explanation, and I would have it, and I thought I'd have the credibility because I've been talking about it for so long. And then I think this space really needs a better direction. It has like no moral center. It's like drifted so far away from the original value prop. So I plan to stick around. Nobody's delivering a vision of the future that's like compelling to me outside of number go up. And I've always cared way more than just that. So that would be my goal.
What's
like,
more of your vision of the future?
Well, I wrote a whole book like the last year, and I was just waiting to release it. It would take quite a while to explain.
Read the back of the cover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that ultimately this current financial system is insolvent and will be realized after we start.
We can only kick the can down the road for so long, right?
Yeah, I think eventually interest rates have to go up, and that will render most of these banks, maybe worldwide, insolvent. And the only response will be massive money printing, which at some point, like, doesn't matter how much they print, they'll be forced to stop by the market. And it'll cause an intense psychological shift, and people will, look for an option outside of this, and we'll get into this war over money, I think. And if successful, I think new institutions will replace the current dominant financial institutions and eventually make deals with governments, and nation states will become far less powerful. But that's dependent on if this works. Like, if privacy is good enough, and if this is adopted, and like the AI economy or information-based economy grows like I think it will, then you have these like two compounding forces that will render the powers of government or violence like less useful, because it only works right now because there's high profit margins on predatory violence, right? Weapons are extremely good at scaring people into, being able to be taxed. But if privacy is really good and most of the economy is just trading information, you're not going to be able to tax people, even if the law says you have to pay your taxes. You can't threaten people anymore. They just won't do it.
So for you, like cryptocurrency as a whole would have to take such a massive stance that it's more powerful than
Then whatever rules the governments like impose on
from
people
all over
using
the
it.
world.
Yeah, from like
Like
this.
it'll be an unstoppable force.
I don't know if it'll be unstoppable, but I do think that it can be if people become, technically savvy enough. But I think the smartest people in the world, the
Sovereign.
smartest entrepreneurs, will do that. Like leverage AI tools, build their own businesses, and have extreme amounts of income. And if they're that smart to do these things, I'm sure they can figure out how to have decent privacy. People already try to do it the legal way by like avoiding taxes legally, but I think with exponential improvements in technology, imagine like if you asked everyone in the world, like, would you pay taxes if you knew you never could get in trouble for it? Like, people don't report their cash tips a lot of the time. There's some cash only businesses that just don't pay because they know the risk is low. I'm just imagining
I
that
have,
happening at
yeah,
large
I'm
scale.
operating an HVAC business where there's certain jobs. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
understand that.
I know people will hate me for saying that. I'm just trying to be realistic. I'm not advocating to do something stupid. I think you should, in like 99.9% of cases, not take your own personal risk and try to operate in crypto right now natively. But I just think that's where the future will head because one, the taxation and censorship will become extreme. I think governments will implement capital controls that are more extreme when we have these financial problems. And I think that'll
Yeah.
incentivize people to margins to start figuring out really how to use this stuff instead of just speculate on it.
That's. I only speculate on it. It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's,
Yeah.
but
I don't know. I get more nervous in regards to writing that line. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I mean, I wouldn't do it because I don't have to take the risk, but I think people will because,
They'll have to take the risk.
yeah, if they want to maintain their lifestyles. And I think it's necessary. It's like at some point in history, people have revolutions. It doesn't have to be violent either this time. Like Americans who started the US decided to go to war with their own government. They were considered terrorists at the time. But now they're celebrated. It's like history rewrites the story, and I think that's the only real option. I don't know. Governments just keep expanding.
Because you think on those lines, do you think that Bitcoin has to hold, gain that exponential value in order for Litecoin to succeed, to get those
Well,
value points
in
that you
this
think it's worth?
in the speculative market, in the cycle, I think that increases the odds dramatically. It can rally just on speculation and narrative, like Bitcoin is, or like everything is. But I think if that happens,
But would it ever lead Bitcoin? You know what I mean?
yeah, if that does happen, it passes Bitcoin and network effects. It could appreciate against Bitcoin for a long time, even in a bear market for Bitcoin. I think
I feel like,
it can hold up stronger.
I'd say if any asset had that opportunity or like the real fundamentals to do it long term, that there'd be like a longer process for that to take effect first, like in one cycle.
Well, it's just because it's so close right now, and if we have a speculative, run up that's pretty extreme, and we get the transaction migration, Litecoin suddenly becomes the most dominant chain. It didn't matter if it's Litecoin or whatever chain. I think it's evident throughout history, the higher network effect money has more utility. It's more valuable. It's more likely to continue to be adopted. So,
And to you, what makes Litecoin more privy to be adopted over Bitcoin?
well, it'll just be the financial incentive and the network effect lead that it takes. In the short run, right, Bitcoin fees won't always stay elevated, but because there's so many people that have price exposure to it, and there's so many more speculators than users, probably 100x more than Litecoin. If you lose your main monetary base out of speculators just sending coins to exchanges, gambling, and it drives all the user base off of it, it's really hard to get them to go back. It's like if rents went really crazy in one city and all the productive economic people left, and just the rich people that don't produce anything stayed there. The economy would be fucked for a long time. It'd be very hard to get them to come back. It's not that Litecoin's better than Bitcoin. I think they're both basically the same security model. It's just one has rampant massive speculation relative to its monetary adoption, and one doesn't. So,
And also, what puts Litecoin in a unique situation is because it's more, or it was completely designed as basically like a quarter of Bitcoin, right? Everything's faster or 4 times.
yeah, and I think it has 4x the block capacity plus MWeb, so it's not going to run into the same fee pressure thing. It could handle millions of transactions today. So it could take all of Bitcoin's real users and still would cost them nothing.
So say like if you're pointing at like say the crypto market as a whole and all these different assets and what their use case is, there's very few of them that have a different use case outside of say like RWA or memes or whatever. There's very few of them that are modeled more based on Bitcoin, and like say Bitcoin has a more confused narrative of whether it's a risk asset that runs with the Nasdaq or whether it's a store of value that runs with gold or just a currency like the dollar. You can't say the same for many other assets than Litecoin, right? Can you think of any?
Yeah, there's just the way, that's true. I just think that there's not many real monetary assets in this space. Yeah, there's like the real world asset credit layer things. There's like the XRP credit layer things, DeFi stuff, memes. And there's almost no monies in this space that have network effects. Even the privacy tokens that are pumping, they
It's more
still
of an
pay
idea.
yeah, it's more of a new idea that say, hey, maybe this will be valuable in the future, but there's no established market for it. It will be crazy because if we do get this migration and it passes Bitcoin, it'll be like a 100x lead over almost all the other proof of work altcoins, right? Like Zcash at 2,000 transactions, so it already was 100x ahead before it pumped. But in aggregate, it'll look like Bitcoin in 2014 or early 2017, where it was doing like 200,000 transactions a day, and Litecoin was at 2K. Now Litecoin's at 200, and will pass where Bitcoin's ever been potentially in its history, while everything else is in the same like monetary asset class is lower. And because of the network effects being strong, it's likely just to persist and go from, you know, pretty far ahead to extremely ahead. It's just like, why would you own anything else? It's kind of like the idea Bitcoiners are right about early on, like in 2013, why would you want to own anything but Bitcoin on the proof of work side? Didn't make much sense to. So yeah, we'll see. This market's still weird and it's a meme, and I think Litecoin pumps massively. Like I think a lot of it will just be, obviously most of it probably will be rampant speculation. But if that happens and it's on the stream, I will tell people that. I don't want to be pumping. Never go up forever. But we'll see. I think we will have a pretty long, drawn out bear market. But
I mean, what's long, a few years? Or are you thinking like 6-7 years?
I think
It
like
could be.
through
You could.
I think there's just so many things that have been stabilized, like in these higher ranges after speculation has just been reinflated so many times. And I honestly think if we have worse macro conditions and a real bear market in stocks and people struggling, that it's going to be hard for these assets that have no real demand, like utility people depending upon them daily, to survive. And even some of the strong coins now, like, it's still heavily skewed towards speculations. And I think it's going to take a long time for the monetary market to develop for crypto, like the real market. I think it takes like 5-10 years. Because we have to build out decentralized like financial applications, infrastructure, privacy tools. People have to learn. There's like a learning process, educational process to be able to use it once they actually care about it and they realize that maybe they should check it out. And that would be like linear growth out of a bear market, not like exponential, parabolic, speculative bubble growth that we typically see. Right? If these are being adopted over time, you'd expect just like a constant, continual rise.
That's true.
But yeah, we'll see. You expect this to start pretty soon? I don't know if we're gonna consolidate a little bit longer here for Litecoin, or just try to break out now.
It's tough too, because if you're looking at it from like an objective standpoint, I mean, we still look the same level of bullish. We look, it's argumentative, like based on what time frame you're trading off, but $92, 91, $92 is huge support. And we just tagged what you can argue as our crux that we've had since almost a year ago, right? November last year. If we're looking at like that descending meme trend line that we haven't been able to bust, you know, and that caused us to liquidate to the bottom end of the channel. We're still bullish, whether we're at 108 or 92. So for me, like looking at it from a more realistic standpoint, like, oh, the breakout's not now. There's no FOMO involved. There's no psychological impact of whatever bias we have based on recency bias, then you can say that we're bullish all the way down to 92, and that's the level we want to hold. But if we're looking at it like, oh, this needs to go now, then I think being realistic, then we just want to basically get a flush at, I think is what I said earlier, right? Well, this is 10, yeah, so a flush of 102. It's like roughly 1016 or something like that. That's the only support I'd be interested in longing anytime soon. But I'd also long that knowing it's not like a full level of where I'm going to put more money in the line. Like if I want to put more money in the line, then I'm going to be putting more money in the line on a flush at 92. Anything before that, because even the 92 can get a bearish retest of 102 before more consolidation or more of a breakdown to the lower end of the range. So I think if you're wanting to place in the short term or you're wanting to average in, if you're scared, you can average in on flush of 102. But obviously, if you're looking at it from more of a point of you're not having bias that this break or this pump out of the flush is the one, then I think the most logical point to average in again is a flush of 92. So for me with Litecoin, I don't rule out, especially at the Fib resistance we're at now, and I don't flush out and move back down to 92. So I think if you're optimistic, you can buy in a flush on 102 for a short-term bounce, or that is the low and we do pump. But I think majority of the longer-term money that's looking to allocate to Litecoin is going to look for a flush at 92 before getting in with a serious or a more serious amount of capital other than the flush at 102. That's what I'd say short-term with Litecoin.
I see. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, we're fully right at resistance.
Yeah, I thought we'd break up by the end of by December and get a vertical move. So I don't really have an opinion over the next month.
It's hard, and at the same time, it's like for any of the levels that majority of the people that actually watch you are looking for, it's just like it's nothing, right? I mean, you can look at it like 92 as like an area to add more shares if you have more money to allocate to this, but outside of that, like obviously the targets are so much higher.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Funding rates are basically negative right now, and open interest is so low, so it's hard to be bearish. I don't think we have like a huge amount of liquidation risk. This is the healthiest Litecoin's looked from like a leverage perspective.
And what's
At
nice,
this
like
level.
time-wise, if you look at like our, as far as our bear market and us knocking against breaking out of the bear market, like we've never been closer, and Bitcoin's never been technically weaker at the same point. So it does feel like, you know, potential breakout is looming large.
Yeah, hopefully it happens soon. I'll be disappointed if it doesn't by December, but I think we're going to.
It's
I guess let's
been
just see.
it's been stronger than I thought, as far as how it was holding before we had that flush, that insane flush. How well it retraced. I mean, to me, it's showing relative strength along the lines of XRP, as far as like when it did break out and the buyers that stepped in at support. It's showing really, really good relative strength.
Yeah, that's what I was
I don't.
thinking. Like if I show my chart real quick again, I don't know if you can see it. Maybe I can share it on here. Yeah, let me see. Use virtual camera. What? It doesn't let me use the virtual camera. But that's why I was paying attention to those pair charts, because it looked like it was going to break out and it was holding up pretty well. And we did break out, but nobody really noticed. We just came back, retested the point of breakout, and then we had that huge move up. Like the last few days.
You know, I was thinking is like once Litecoin actually breaks out, I have like bigger accounts that I talk to on Twitter that would come on here, but they probably wouldn't come on here until after the like the FOMO and the attention goes to Litecoin. So that's like one of those things that will benefit you on the way up. But unfortunately for you, like I feel, not for you, not unfortunately either, but if we're looking at like the amount of views and the amount of people coming in the chat, you can almost correlate it directly with that orange trend line that I have coming off the highs. Like basically
for
like
sure.
a confirmed break of trend. Because once we get that confirmed break of trend, like you already see recently with Litecoin and the amount of attention it's gotten on Twitter, like you can already see that that will only grow exponentially, as well as your viewership.
For
Because
sure.
like, because once that comes in, I bet you I can get a handful of guys that wouldn't normally get on a channel that was more focused on one asset, that basically had the narrative or just everything that comes with it of just like Litecoin and it being almost like a meme of bag holders and crazies that actually believe in like the fundamental value of it.
For sure. Yeah. I know. I've known that that
If it breaks out, then I think I could realistically maybe get Tech Dev or Steve or Decojar, which are two of the more of the guys that are focused on. Like Decojar is heavily more focused on like building an indicator that brings everything as far as like global liquidity and a bunch of different indicators into one, and it's something similar to what Tech Dev has. So like those two guys, as far as like whether the market has an extended narrative or
that'd be sweet.
I bet those two guys I bet would be more open to coming on something like this when things finally line up.
Yeah,
like it's not, you know, it's not
attention
before.
Yeah.
But that'd be nice to get them to come on here and explain all that, like their viewpoint and what they put into their indicators and their theory on everything, because as far as like Litecoin and Bitcoin and some of the major coins, they all kind of depend on those things, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I know I knew I'd be struggling to gain viewership.
It's crazy how close we are, though. It's
Yeah,
like we've been grinding up against this for so long, and I think you're on the verge of it.
that'd be sick. That's why I've also been putting in work and not streaming as much lately because I'm trying to get prepare for this 24-hour loop to
What are
make
you
it
doing to prepare?
interesting. I'm just trying to organize all my stuff that I haven't released and that I already did put out there into a like coherent storyline and progression like throughout the day so it matches the mood. Uh, and I have a bunch of like monologues and narratives, like spoken myself plus ones I created
Really?
that I'm trying to put together so that I can structure this and catch
I, f-
the search interest that does come in.
I feel like all the stuff you've done so far, to me, it's, I mean, if we get the breakout, then we do, but all of it I've been viewing as like way ahead. You're way ahead of things if we do get what you're expecting. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Like
and
you're pretty far ahead, because like I've only seen stuff at first that you released, like with the music and things like that. I kind of thought like, "Mm, what the heck?
yeah,
Like,
I know. I
what the
knew
heck?
people
Like
would
this
do
guy's,
that.
yeah. I was thinking like this guy's way more of a maxi than I ever imagined. But I mean, every time I talk to you, you're to me you're a lot smarter than I am. So in a
Well,
lot of regards, I'm like it took me a while to come to the conclusion that like, okay, like when we pumped up against resistance a few times, I saw what you were doing, and it was the first time that I guess I could feel it.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like you're going for the feeling
yeah,
of retail ahead of time,
yeah,
and that was the first time where I was just like, I mean, I've always I've always respected you, but that was the first time where I was just like, if we do get this, I think maybe you won't necessarily be surprised, but what you'll do will be
yeah.
impressive.
Well, we'll see.
It'll be bigger than what you probably imagine.
I've always been, I always grind in the dark,
Yeah,
even before, because
you're now.
I always knew whatever I did in the past, like I knew my family or friends wouldn't understand it. They just think like, this is so weird. What are you doing? And I've gone through that process multiple times.
Yeah,
And then at the end, when people have seen success, they're like, what the hell? Like I did that with music itself in college, and before that in other areas. Um, but nothing really like this. It's like, it's so weird because it's so strange to most people because it's like, it's one, never been tried, and then two, it's like merging two domains that usually don't uh, really coexist. Most stuff's written in hindsight, like to reflect on emotions of the crowd, and I was trying to build what I expected the future emotions to be so that people could feel it in the moment that it's occurring. Because I know it's like always hard to imagine, right? Like when price goes down, the people can feel like they feel so bearish, they feel uh, like their mind gets warped in a sense. Like everything seems like it's dying and doomed. And when
it's
price
the
goes up,
hardest thing. Like for
yeah,
me, it's something I've learned um, the past couple years. It's basically like believing in the asset's value long term, and
yeah,
I've had that belief, but actually like investing and holding into a belief like that, and like I could look at it on a black and white spectrum where I'm like, oh, it's easy, I buy it, I hold it, I have my excuse me, I've had what's even tougher it's more difficult than that. Like, because if you're holding one of these cryptocurrencies that you think will have a long-term value, like you have to be open to all sorts of games that traditional markets generally wouldn't give you for any asset that's say $100. Like, you're not going to get these insane. This recent run we have was absolutely wild. Like, to sit through that and to hold it and to have conviction, and not only that, to be relatively like safe in any regard as what you'd view in like a money management um, baseline from traditional finance or from any type of speculative venture, like say like a poker bankroll or something like that. Like, you're putting a stop loss in, and in order to be holding this asset through that most recent flush we have is like incredibly difficult. Like, so for me, like, I've learned a lot of lessons as far as holding an asset.
Mm-hmm.
um I mean, they make it so difficult
Yeah,
just to
I
hold
know.
Litecoin.
Yeah.
Just to hold Litecoin. They make it so difficult just to hold it. And it's like the long term, you could view it like this trend line, right? Like, the long term value has been grinding up to a point where it's getting the most compressed ever, and like it gets to a point where it can't hold the ceiling.
Yeah.
Um, if, for so long, it can only do it for so long, and I feel like we've just holding Litecoin's been so difficult because you're basically holding historically one of the latest assets or coins to pump against Bitcoin, into a market where everything's outperforming. Like, stocks are outperforming, commodities have caught a crazy bid, or not all commodities,
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of you know what I mean? Like, and Litecoin has just been grinding against that line, and we're getting to the point where like that squeeze will be exponential. But at the same time, I don't know if you can view it as a more healthy asset on long term, but the fact that it does trade against resistances, and maybe we don't get that exponential, excuse me, we don't get that exponential push, and maybe we only run 200 and so dollars before we see a small retracement and consolidation in the next pump. You can argue it's the most mature asset out of, I mean, for Litecoin to have the volume it has and to trade the way it trades, you're looking at like the most currency, like, I mean, outside of the crazy stuff related to crypto, like that last flush, I mean, the volatility is relatively low. I mean, it's trading in a way Bitcoin trades, but on a much smaller level. So if it does have an exponential catch up, it wouldn't be surprised to see it consolidate and have a bear market in a similar manner, say 4 times Bitcoin, whatever the retracement is in the bear market or whatever. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you can argue that Litecoin has strong value in just the way it trades. It trades in a real impressive, consolidated, smart manner. It doesn't trade in like overly volatile, crazy manner. But at the same time, like, what we've been analyzing the past few years is just a small consolidation period. And when you zoom out on Litecoin, these are the basically times it trades like a currency, and it's boring and it doesn't draw much attention, but it catches up in a rapid manner. And that's kind of just like, so far, I guess, the pattern.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's been tough. Like opportunity costs. All my friends in real life, they're like always texting me like, "Oh, bro, I should have bought XRP, or I should have bought stocks or these AI stocks." It's like if you don't have the foresight to see it happen before, then that feeling you have, like, just don't pay attention to it. It's like spot
Well, yeah,
something.
then you're just, I mean, then you're entering my world, of the hard lessons you learn about just chasing whatever hot. I mean, that's like the beginning of day trading, is where you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at the biggest gainers and you're chasing like whatever's hot. But you're just chasing at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Now, that's what makes it difficult. That's what keeps you in the game of chasing. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, yeah. I mean, if you're holding something for long-term gains, then it's crazy because Litecoin is the one historically that you hold and you say accumulate on it and you get rewarded greatly. So, I mean, for us to say like this is a market where we are going to get some type of like, say, 5 wave move up from here or whatever, and we get that run into say mid next year, Litecoin is the one that catches up the most, the
Yeah.
latest in the market historically. So
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, 100% agree. We don't know for sure. Like, it's still possible that it doesn't go as vertical as I think, but I think the probability, and it's just again based on
I
all the confluence of what's
yeah,
likely to
like for
happen.
people to be hating on the narrative plays that directly benefit the asset they hold is wild to me. And like for people to be hating on Zcash or any of these privacy coins that are catching a narrative, like that's just a bid to catch on this current stage of whatever Litecoin's in, right? So if
Mhm.
we're in the stage before breakout, that's just the bid we catch beforehand. If you're viewing it as anything else, then I think you're not looking at it from a non-biased perspective, because like the privacy bid is just the bid we catch before the breakout. You can view it as like that. Just that's it. That's all it is. Maybe the privacy narrative doesn't outperform all sorts of other narratives the rest of the cycle.
Yeah.
I don't know. But as far as now, um, you can argue right now the bid we're catching right now, it could be narrative wise, at least a decent amount of retail would be the privacy, the MWeb, right? It would be the privacy narrative that's catching us a bit up against that same resistance that we had. So for me, it's not so much, even though I like Litecoin mainly because of its narrative as being the silver to Bitcoin's digital gold, but at the same time, I don't care necessarily. I just care about the chart.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for
for
sure.
me, like, what narrative catches me the next bid or the next leg up or the push into resistance or the consolidation or whatever, it's all irrelevant towards the long-term goal. And with Litecoin, I mean, it's for me, I mean, I don't know how long I've been coming on your chat room, maybe like 6 months or something
Mhm.
like that now. We've been bouncing up against that trend line of breakout for nearly the whole time. So like for me, like coming on here and actually talking things out, like we've only been butting up against that this whole time. And currently we had a crazy flush and the ultimate like fear in the market, and fear and greed index is down near the lows. It didn't happen overnight like that fear and greed index. It took time, right? Like it wasn't like we had that big wick down into midterm support and then we were traced. It was like we had that wick down and we had that steady consolidation in Bitcoin, that slow grind down, and Litecoin has held its relative strength up against it, and we're still butting up against that long-term resistance. So for me, it's like I only hold a couple coins with different narratives, and for me, it's more of like the DeFi narrative and the transactions with the DeFi narrative, and then it's Litecoin, and to me, it's like the biggest narrative. For me, is like boomers and where they're going to come in with their capital and what they're going to base their investment decisions on. And for me, it's they're going to be late to Bitcoin and they're going to be looking for the silver move, right? And that's not new. That's something that's been happening for decades with gold and silver, and it's like catch up between um, the silver gold to silver ratio, or say the Bitcoin to Litecoin ratio, and I think we're grinding up on the next edge of that. So even if we pop up and hit 200 some dollars and see some selling, like I'm still going to be bullish that it holds that XRP like structure, and not only that, like all the structure it's held since then with the consolidation sideways trading has been solid structure, and it's something that you'd expect out of a mature asset. So the price action we get with a breakout would be more along the lines of mature price action, something that DeFi and hedge funds and all the different funds that will be investing in Litecoin, the Litecoin ETFs heavily will look forward to, and we'll be able to identify the strength and weakness with ease. So it's actually, the more I've analyzed Litecoin through time, like the more I've viewed it as something that will transcend on the timeline that you could line up with like the fundamental value of
Mm-hmm.
Litecoin.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I just think it's interesting that it's such a small market cap asset under this extremely long compression with narrowing range, tighter volatility compression with so much potential capital
It's really
that
like the most ideal thing to invest in when you think about all those different things in combination, right?
yeah, like especially now. I mean, if it can break up, and it's what always makes me the most bullish is it's the future potential in the monetary network effects. How they work, it's just so likely. I would put it like 99% odds that if there's going to be increased demand for this type of money, most of the growth is going to happen towards Litecoin, just like it happened for Bitcoin first. And
Where would you think though, like for you, where would you think like the biggest amount of demand for it to actually be a currency would occur? First, the overpowering potential overpowering volume based on narrative.
well,
Because
it's
if you're
just
looking at it
that.
like we potentially have a blow off towards a prolonged bear market, what would be the difference maker, if in your opinion?
So I think mostly will be driven by speculative demand and reflexivity. And just like I said before, the size of pool of capital that probably will want to buy it is way larger than it ever has been in history because of these ETFs. Relative to it's being so tightly uh, held by long-term holders, so like it's very thin on the ask side.
Yeah.
And I know that over the long term, speculation aligns with reality. And I think the truth will be revealed as price goes up. And if we get the catalyst that I'm thinking, it'll just end the biggest narrative in the space, pretty much. Like it's betting against the narrative that drove Bitcoin to $2 trillion in a
It's true.
sense.
Yeah,
And
it's true that won't be the same narrative that tops us.
yeah, so it's that, but the fundamental potential, it's just the amount of transaction volume happening on Bitcoin between these certain transaction value ranges that I know can add
Do you
a few $100 billion to its market cap in a short amount of time if the conditions
do you
come true.
study that, like the centralized exchange versus the decentralized exchange, and like
No,
what holds the most important at the moment, like as far as like, because I feel like I don't know. I don't know much. But
well,
to
most all
me,
the
in my
volume
mind,
is on centralized exchanges, but I'm saying like I'm not saying like volume on exchanges, I mean volume happening on the network. I'm just looking at that and where the volume is occurring over
what does that?
Bitcoin.
Yeah, I don't understand what that means. Like the volume on the network
So like
versus the
how,
volume on the exchange.
yeah, in US dollar, like exchanges like trading between dollar and Bitcoin. But I'm saying how much total Bitcoin is being sent like a day, not like traded. I mean like so like if I were to spend, most of it's not being spent on stuff, but there's a significant portion that is. It's like any money, right? When you transact in dollars, if you go buy something for $10, it's $10 worth of volume on the dollar network. I'm looking at the transaction activity, like Bitcoin transfers to like I have an address of Bitcoin. I send Bitcoin to your address. That's maybe $100. It accounts for $100 of total transaction volume over
Yeah.
the day. And Bitcoin is doing like 30 billion today. It's like about 30 billion every 24 hours. And I know most of it's happening between a value range that is vulnerable to being priced out. And I know if that happens, where it's likely to go. And I don't know how much is speculative versus real because you can't really see that anymore. But I do know because I've had even when people said it was retarded, like when Litecoin was doing like no transactions a day, I thought it would migrate to Litecoin and then it would hold and continue to increase. And that's what's happening and has been happening. That's the only reason why Litecoin's so far ahead. It's just people they don't, it's never happened in a money before, so I think, like, we've never had a money that costs more the more people use it. And most people have this view that it's just like a store of value. You buy it on an exchange and it goes up. But there are people in the real world that are using it for its intended purpose, or else the transaction volume would look like a meme coin or like some of these proof of stake chains or like Dogecoin that's just sitting at nothing. It's not sitting at nothing, and it's not all just speculative transaction volume.
Is use case.
Yeah, people are using it for its intended purpose. It's just dominated by speculation. But I know there's a lot of volume, and I'm guessing sort of, but it's based on like the on-chain analysis I used to do.
Okay.
And I know there's a few $1 billion at least, and I'm trying to be conservative, that can get priced out. And I know that migration will happen. Like, they will either use a more distant substitute, like dollars, stable coins, but mostly they don't historically. So I'm not going to bet against the historical trend. I know the price trend is different, but the on-chain volume trend, most of it's going to Litecoin. And it's more likely than ever before just because of the network effect increase on a relative basis Litecoin's had. So it just happened at such small value ranges that nobody pays attention. The only people paying attention were like BitPay and these merchant processors. They're like, oh wow, Litecoin went up a lot. I don't know why. But if it happens at the level I'm saying, it will be like a 2008 crisis moment within Bitcoin. And
What does that equate to?
Well, it's like I can't send my Bitcoin to the exchange to sell it. It's like $500 or $1,000 fee levels because there's 200 million plus people that own it or have exposure, but the transactions that can get through the chain a day are like 400,000. So it doesn't really take that many people demanding to use the chain to try to send their coins.
I have a question, like how do ETFs work as far as like they hold their coins when people buy them? How does that affect transactional rate? Does it not affect it at all?
At some points they probably would have to go acquire more Bitcoin, and I don't know if they're just like doing it through Coinbase, so it's like Coinbase is still holding it and they have this big pool of Bitcoin so they don't have to make on-chain transactions, but there is settlement that is happening like
So
between
what
exchanges.
I'd say what would happen if Coinbase doesn't hold enough?
Yeah, I mean, they would have to go out in the market and buy Bitcoin, but they'd be buying like large amounts. But there will be increased like large transfers too between these exchanges, and they could settle. Like, I would see them as less likely. They'd probably just move to stable coins to like if Bitcoin was too expensive. But maybe they'd use Litecoin if it was. But they don't really need Bitcoin. Like they can just use stable coins. But if they're trading with like trying to settle balance with Binance or something, I'm sure they'd want final settlement and not use stable coins. It'd be more profitable if you don't want to take any risk to take a substitute Bitcoin chain like Litecoin. But most people in the world that are not these big central entities that are transacting with Bitcoin with each other would just pay each other in Litecoin instead. And that's
And if you view that like marketplace as being like a strong portion of the demand for Bitcoin or Litecoin, then you'd imagine like there's only so many, like say Bitcoin ATMs and different countries are transacting on. They only have what? Is it 4 coins? Is it Bitcoin? Maybe
Litecoin,
XRP, Litecoin. Is it Bitcoin Cash too?
Probably, but I think Litecoin's second most in all these ATMs. But it's like Bitcoin
Right.
can't pump for monetary demand reasons. It's so over. It's like the price is so much higher than any type of increase in monetary demand could. It couldn't drive price at all. But Litecoin can, because it's an $8 billion asset compared to a $2 trillion asset, and there's a few billion dollars
That's true. That's
that
such a huge difference.
that can migrate. So like it's the relative difference in scale of Litecoin suddenly leaping ahead of Bitcoin on the monetary side. The transaction migration happens. It's in the billions of dollars. It pumps Litecoin to a 300, $400 billion market cap, and then the whole narrative changes. But I don't know. I think most likely it's going to be driven first, this initial leg, if we break out soon, just raw speculation. But then you might get traders like trying to sell, and then you get this rally in Bitcoin to 250K, and all this migration happens, and Litecoin goes to an extreme like blow off. I think if your TA stuff on Bitcoin happens, which I align with, then Masters price targets might actually come true. But
That's. I
everything
mean,
has
what
to
are you
align.
saying when you say that? When you say masters, and what kind of time frame you're
Like
talking
in a
about?
short, super short time frame, like by March, April, like Masters, not 84K, but like I think in the 5-digit level is possible just because the narrative swings so hard. You get
So
institutional like diversification out of Bitcoin. You see people become super irrational in this heightened emotional state if we really see a blow off in crypto. And it's going to be
I
so
guess.
hard for people not to capitulate out of their Bitcoin for Litecoin if the broad narrative shifts, because it is the truth. Like it's not false. It should be compelling to people once they experience it. Uh, but I don't know if it'll be as extreme as I was always imagining. Um,
That's because it's so extreme. Because let's see if I do it like this.
it is very extreme. It'd be like a Dogecoin-esque move. That was in 4 months. Or XRP's first rally in 2017. It's like ADX.
It's not impossible, and looking back at the chart, it wouldn't be impossible. But that'd basically be viewing it as like the most recent flush we had being the absolute low in the regression analysis, and I mean, that would have to, it would be a blow off on like the complete narrative of Litecoin, and it would be
Yeah.
like the max range blow off, and that's like, yeah, what is that? The 2.272 lines up. That's my Bitcoin one, and that's almost $13,000. So I haven't even calculated the amount of Litecoin I had in $13,000 before. What is that?
That might be dangerous.
Yeah,
Hold
might
out
be
for it.
wise not to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna evaluate it like day by day. Let's see if we can get the breakout and how extreme it likely is.
Yeah. It's 5-digit Litecoin for sure. If you're looking at a blow off of like exponential evaluations of Litecoin, that would be a blow off of this channel. We've been off the low, and that would be the low would be the most recent liquidation. So that would view it as 5-digit Litecoin. So it's not outside the realm of possibility. You could say that,
Yeah,
according to the chart. You know.
for sure. Yeah, I just see convergence. I think it's a lot of confidence that the odds seem really good. So I don't want to jinx it, but we'll see. I don't want to jinx my whole project.
Hey, look at that. If you look at like what fib is that? Hang on. That's the most important fib in Bitcoin. That's why it's in there. It's just a 7.5. It lines up perfect. That's one of those. So if you look at like my technical edge in markets, and it's like me measuring price, and whatever price holds the most, or whatever coordinates, say, based on the measurements of price, hold the most value or weight, and then you can say that's like most likely the highest candidate of it actually having weight in its coordinates of a high and two lows, or two highs and a singular low. And for me, it's like, look at that. If I measure just the most recent low off Litecoin, and it measures perfectly that the 7.5 lines up as the big resistance we had in 2021. So I don't know, man. I it just will be so hard. I think if we potentially we're grinding up against the edge of resistance, and as far as like time wise goes, we're grinding off a low, and things are lining up now that was indeed the low, the big flush before the big preceded move higher, and it doesn't. It's crazy, but who knows how exponential we get, and it doesn't necessarily count out 5-digit Litecoin, which is higher than I ever viewed, but
Yeah.
I've been bullish Litecoin for the past few years. So the exponential range before was maybe like 6K, and now it's over 10K. So time with consolidation actually having like a perceived value in the future does a lot for, potential prices in the future.
Sure, yeah, it might be a blessing in disguise.
It's hard, but yeah, I agree.
Well, we'll see. I don't want to get attached. I don't want anyone to get attached to a certain price. I think it's still responsible to like take profits.
Yeah,
But
I
prime,
agree. That's why I mean, I'm glued. I look at the the high time frame stuff, and I look at the value that that potentially provides. But at the same time, I try to stay glued down to the LTF to get a good read of what we'd expect next. But I mean, the in between is the hard part, and that's
If we did get a breakout in Litecoin, that's what we're going to be living in, is the in between, where it gets real hard to value an asset. And that's where a lot of people are sitting with Zcash currently.
yeah,
And I think it's only a blessing that we're getting some type of narrative that aligns with Litecoin pumping right now, because like I said earlier, that basically being the narrative that gets us up to the resistance level to get the next bump. And to me, it kind of depends on Bitcoin, but who knows? Zcash isn't pumping based on Bitcoin, so
yeah. It
I
definitely
can't
probably will
say
be
with any
stronger if
certainty.
Bitcoin starts rallying. But I think if we break above that, the
If we break
triangular
above
resistance, like
200 and 200 to 220 with serious volume, we blow past it. I think shows the relative to me that shows the relative strength of Bitcoin, because that's absolute oversold levels based on the past couple of years since 2022. So I'd say if we blow past 220, we got a lot to look forward to.
for sure. Let's do it. All right, I'm probably gonna go to sleep here in a sec, but this was
That
good.
sounds good to me too.
This was good. Thanks for coming on. It'll be
Thanks
cool
for having me on. Yeah.
if you can come when it's more busy in here to give us your
Yeah,
low time frame thoughts.
to me, it's just like I enjoy a lot of the stuff I talked about tonight. I wouldn't have gotten out of myself unless I talked to you. So it's always
Hell yeah.
nice, not that it necessarily holds any value, but it's always nice to discuss these things with you, because you're a
For sure.
well-educated man.
Yeah, we have different skills. I'm not good with low time frames really, but I appreciate it, and I think it's valuable. I think you're better
Yeah.
than you had streaks, like better than most people. So
I appreciate that.
yeah, well, let's see what happens this week. Should be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, LTF, I'm expecting a retracement, but to me, it's so bullish. I mean, I'm still bullish on Litecoin, even if we run all the way down to 92.
Mhm.
I don't know what it holds for Bitcoin. I didn't really get into that. Actually, we just chatted the whole time. I didn't go over much charts, but as far as Bitcoin, I was expecting higher. So maybe the fortunate, I'd say, just in summary, real quick before we get off, I'd say the fortunate value would be like if we do retrace and fill a gap and flush 102, if we could pump up to damn near the highs here at 127, 126, 127, and then we have our retracement after this, I could say we're in a really good position in regards to the levels I'm looking at in Bitcoin. I didn't go over it, but that's basically what I'm looking forward to.
Hell yeah. Sweet. Let's
Yeah.
see. Let's see what happens.
We'll find out. Yeah. I look forward to seeing you on again.
Yeah, dude. Whenever. I'll be here daily.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'll talk to you later.
All right. Later, dude.
All right. Bye. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna go sleep now. Aaron, thanks for staying the whole time. Hey Peter, what up? I gotta go to sleep now. But good morning, GM. Good morning. Alright guys, I'm gonna start the 24/7 stream. I need some help trying to get the word out once it starts again. It'll be better this time, I think. I'll try to make it better. Hey, night stream ruled. Yeah, I need to go to sleep, man. We'll see what happens to Litecoin. I think a decent chance to pull back. I mean, all the influencers started pumping it. But we should be able to hold the... I want to see just continued strength here. Don't mess around too long against altcoins. We just need to clear this high against BTC. Right now it looks fine. It's like grinding up. Kind of what XRP did off the lows, right? It was like, it was the first move up a few days and then had the breakout move. So maybe this week. I don't know. Soon though. Peace guys. Good night.